So pivot or pivot table in Excel is one of the easiest um, what's it called function in Excel, and it's basically used for aggregation of data. If you want to just answer some questions from your data, like which product had the highest sales, the total revenue that you have in the system, and everything, something like that. So pivot table is basically used to aggregate data and answer those kind of questions. So in this video, we are just going to be looking at a very we are going to be looking at pivot very quickly, so not like in depth. So when we are building like simple dashboard, then we can really go into it, like uh using it to build charts and the rest. But here we're just going to look at how to use pivot. So to use pivot, we just need to come to insert and click on this pivot table. Take for example, this is our data, and we just want to answer some questions, some business questions, like I mean, what is the monthly revenue, the highest product, something like that. Then you can just come here, click on pivot table. So when you click on pivot table, you're going to select our table range. The what's it called now? The best practice now is just to convert this to a table. Control T. So when you put Control T, converting it to a table, it makes it a little bit more dynamic. So let's clear the style. We don't want it to have any style, but of course I've turned it to a table. So it makes it dynamic in the sense that when you add another row here, it automatically picks it up and add it to your pivot, instead of trying to like delete the pivot and doing it all over again. So it basically like automatically refreshes your data when you change it to a table. So all we can do here for a pivot is to go to insert, click on the pivot table. You can see now that it picks our table automatically because we are on this page. Then where do we want to put our pivots? So in this case, I'm not going to be going to another sheet. I'm going to be using this existing worksheet. And we're just going to be picking maybe just a location beside this. Let's just pick. So let's just pick this place, yeah, to add our. So exactly. So this is where our pivot table will be now. So I don't like how this is looking, so I can change it to maybe a vertical view, or hmm, something that looks like, yeah, I think no, this view does not. Yeah, let's change it to this particular. Yeah, this particular view is okay. So you can see like all your columns and where they go. Take for example, we want to just check like what is our revenue, like total revenue, which is our actual sales. So we can just put our actual sales column in the value. So when you click our actual sales column in the value, you can see now that it sums it up immediately. So you can just quickly sum it up to check, like this is how much you have in the system. Then we can click on this to maybe format the number if you want. So click on number, change it to 1000 separated here. Then we don't need like comma. You can see it's looking better now than before. So that's our revenue. And you can also, if you don't want to summarize it and you just want to get like maybe an average, you can just right click on the pivot table and just come to summarize value. You can maybe count, you can do average, you can do max, you can do mean, it can be product. So basically what we want to do is the sum there. So we just sum it up. So that's how to do pivot. You can also take for example, we don't want to just see only the we don't want to just see only the we don't want to see only just the revenue. Let's just say we want to see the, the product that's the highest product, like in descending order, products that are doing well. So we can just choose the pivot table again. Let's choose our table, still this table. Supposed to automatically choose our table first. So let me be on this table now. So you can see it automatically choose our table for us. Then our location will be existing column, then we can just choose like maybe another cell here. So our pivot table will be populated there. Yeah, you can see. Then what we want to do is just to check the let's just choose the actual value, the budget to produce the budget that we have to produce the product. Then each of the products, you just put them in a row. Yeah. So you can see now we have each of the product now. We have a sum of each of the product, the budget for them, and also the actual sales. Yeah. So you can see them very glaring here.